Hey, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time we're going to kick the week off with a somewhat of a mono red Yamcha deck profile. So I know a lot of people on Facebook have been asking about a Yamcha deck. Like I've seen a lot of people asking for kind of direction and how to take Yamcha and this, and that, and the other thing. So I'm glad to get it out there. We have a gameplay video where this deck is playing up against a channel favorite, which is the Blue Yellow Cell deck. Definitely check that out if you haven't checked that out. I'll put the link for that down in the description below so you can check that out. Before we do get into this video though, I do want to say if you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. Give this video a like if you feel so inclined. That'd be awesome. We're going to be running a giveaway after I get back from Dragon Ball Super Nationals, and the more subscribers we get, the more prizes are going to go out. We're the only channel, as far as I know, that do prizes for multiple places and giveaways. Like several different prizes going out for giveaways. Definitely check that out. Hit that subscribe button. You're awesome. Alright, so without further ado, we'll get into this deck profile. So the Yamcha leader, he is basically the red burst leader out of set 5. So every color I believe got a burst leader, and Yamcha is a red one. So what he does is auto, when this card attacks, does not have to attack a leader card, which is really important. A lot of these attack draw cards from leaders had to attack leaders to do this, but the burst leaders are really nifty because they can attack anything and do this. So attack burst 2, which means mill the top 2 cards of your deck and draw a card. Now burst is an optional effect in case you weren't aware of that. So kind of nifty to know in case you're somewhat close to decking out, but if you're still on your unawakened side by the time you're almost about to deck out, you're in a pickle anyway, but just good to know. So he'll awaken at 4 life, untap 2 energy, and he turns into Yamcha the Hungry Wolf. Honestly, guys, this is some of my favorite card art in this entire game. I love this leader. The foil version looks amazing. Alright, so Yamcha the Hungry Wolf, his auto, Sparking 5. When this card attacks, this card gains critical for duration of the turn and draw a card. So the fact that your leader is a base critical is absolutely insane, and it's one of the reasons that if you look at the main deck, we're not playing any overwhelms because we want to really abuse that sparking effect. So that's kind of why we're not playing any overwhelms in the deck. We're going to abuse some cards that have sparking abilities, so that's the whole point of that. Activate main once per turn, choose 1 red battle card in your battle area, and it can attack active battle cards for the duration of the turn. So I give this deck the nickname the anti-barrier deck because of that awakened ability. The fact that you can just attack active battle modes with any card in your main deck for the most part is absolutely bonkers. So this deck I think will be really amazing in any format where a barrier deck is going to be taking prevalence. So I'm really happy that Bandai does this. You know, they kind of release problems to things before they become problems, and that's kind of a pretty cool way to check and balance certain things. I think they've done it to a little bit of overkill in other scenarios, but maybe that's a topic for another video for another day. But like I said, this deck will be really good against any type of barrier deck you go up against. So if your locals is full like blue-green Soul Striker or Apes, anything like that, this deck will be a good pick. So we'll get into my main deck choices. So we've got 4 black cards in the main deck. Besides that, it's mostly a mono red deck. So Crisis Crusher Sengoku. The reason we're including this at 2 is because Storm, like most decks, gives this deck a headache. So in case you guys haven't seen what Crisis Crusher does, we'll go over it. Permanent, if there are no battle cards in play your battle area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So this is basically a starter card that you want to hit if you're going up against a deck like Hirudegarn. This is actually also really good against a lot of the Wish decks, especially Sorbet and Pilaf, the red Pilaf, that need their battle card to attack. And I think the green Pilaf does the same thing as well. Those cards need their battle card to attack in order to search Dragon Balls, and a lot of times those are going to be done with the use of 1-drops. So this card is really good at slowing them down. It's also really good at staving off some aggro, especially with Storm, because if your opponent can't attack with their Bardox, you're stopping about 1/3 of their attacks, which adds up a lot in the end, especially in a deck that doesn't play Sides of Being. This really matters. Players can attack with 1-drops. That is the main effect that I was just talking about. Activate main once per turn, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 1 or less and KO it. So this card actually just being plopped down against any deck that really does spam 1-drops, especially like World Tournament decks, can accrue a lot of value because you're just literally picking off your opponent's combo power. So two of in the deck, you want to see it when you're going up against aggro or a 1-drop reliant deck, and definitely sideboard more once you get these from your locals by entering tournaments. So now for two different flex spots, we're trying the Shenron Figure of Majesty and the Dimensional Warrior Sengoku. If you notice at the gameplay video, we played 2 Dimensional Warrior Sengoku just for some additional spot removal in the deck. This guy being a barrier double striker is also really helpful for building board presence as well. Your opponent can't just like Gogeta this or Goku Ubit, which is really nice. But I noticed that 2 was a lot. It didn't come up in every single scenario I needed to. So now I've also been trying the Shenron Figure of Majesty. So I figured I'd profile this deck with both of them in there just to tell you guys the pros and cons of playing each one. So I kind of already talked about Dimensional Warrior Sengoku, just some additional spot removal in certain instances where like you need to get rid of something, but you can't necessarily rely on just attacking into it. And then the Shenron Figure of Majesty, just an incredible card for sparking decks all around. So permanent, this card can't attack, not really the end of the world, especially when your leader can actually attack. Activate main once per turn, sparking 5, choose one effect and draw one card. So the fact that it replaces itself on the first effect is really, really big. You know, this card does die to spot removal. It doesn't have any type of barrier or any type of protection like that. But the fact that it replaces itself immediately makes it a lot less harmful to you. But if this card sticks around, it starts to accrue disgustingly insane value. So we'll read the rest of what it does. So draw one card and choose one of the following effects. Untap 2 energy. So this allows you to be really defensive in a deck that doesn't have access to a lot of energy removal. I really like the fact that this card is a thing because of that. It gives non-blue decks ways to untap energy and just be more defensive than they naturally can be. And choose one battle card with a cost of 2 or less in your drop area and play it. So really nifty. You can bring back your 1 drops to help awaken. You can bring back your super combos. Bringing back super combos is really actually just OP. And you can choose your leader card or 1 battle card, and it gains 5k power and critical for the turn. So you can just put pressure on your opponent and they won't get cards off of that. Especially giving your double strikers, that is really big. So those are the 2 flex spots to go within the deck. You can go with either one based on preference, depending what your locals kind of has, right? So if your locals isn't playing a whole lot of spot removal, I would recommend playing the Shenrons over the Dimensional Warriors, definitely. But if you do place against a lot of Hercule, a lot of Announcer, a lot of Gogeta, I definitely wouldn't steer towards the Shenron. Now we'll get into the after image technique, our negate for the deck. And this isn't even a true negate, but the more I look at this card, the more I actually really like it. So let's see what it does. 1 cost red, and you can activate this card if your leaders are red by taking a life if you have 5 or more in your drop area. So it's one of those free negates from set 5. If your leader card is red, shield to one of your cards, so battle card or leader card, and it gets plus 40,000 power for duration of the turn, duration of the battle, sorry. That shields to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 10k for duration of the turn. So this card can potentially KO something, which is really insane, especially like a Goten or something like that. But besides that, I like this card a lot because it forces your opponent to play the game. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't actually stop the attack. It basically puts a 50k deficit between you and whatever's swinging. Your opponent, if you're at 2 life, you activate this card, your opponent can still go for game on you, but they're at a 50k deficit. So they have to play the game. They have to try their best to go all in on you. And it basically allows you to somewhat outplay your opponent in certain instances. If they decide to go in and they don't have the correct combo power to do it, if they can't anywhere match up to that 50k deficit, you have it in the bag, which I'm a really big fan of. So this card allows you to outplay your opponent. It could be Videl if you wanted to, but the fact that it's a free negate and the fact that, like I said, it allows you in some instances to outplay your opponent, I'm a really big fan of. Alright, so we have our 1-drops, our red famous 1-drops. We have 4 intensifying power trunks, helps us awaken, provides crit damage. We can evolve in the chain attack, which is really solid. 2 Sankaba, this is less self-awakening, more for cheap finishers. So when your opponents add that to life, you pressure them down, you have that 1 or 2 red energy open, you drop that Kaba, you get a sneaky double strike. Big fan. Everybody's pal Yamcha, this is a new card out of the tournament packs. So what it does is 2 drop, 2 red. When this card attacks, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 Earthling among them, add it to your hand. So we play a whole lot of Earthling targets in this deck. So really good value there. Your super combos are Earthlings, your deadly defenders are Earthlings, your chain attacks, your 1-drop Trunkses are Earthlings, so really good value. 4 Masaroshi super combo. This is our sparking super combo in the deck, so once you have 5 in your drop, this card's live. Really nice that they have a base 10k power, and this card can become live earlier than if it was like a at 4 life super combo. 4 Yamcha 100%. This card's really solid, especially against decks that like to drop little guys on the board. So this is almost like a miraculous comeback ultimate go on, but this is a little bit better. So what it does is, it's 3-drop, 19k power. Kind of weird they decided to go with a lot of 19k powers in this set, but I digress. Activate main once per turn, burst 5, so mill top 5 of your deck. If your leader card is a red Earthling, which Yamcha is, for the duration of the turn, this card gets 6k power, so it's a 3-drop 25k, which is huge. Can't have its attack negated. Deals 2 damage to your opponent when it KOs an opponent's battle card. So at any point of the game, if you're swinging for, let's say your opponent's 2 life, you play this card, you activate its effect. If your opponent has a 15k or less battle card on the board, this thing is threatening lethal and it can't be negated. Absolutely huge. An insane card. 4 Deadly Defender Krillin. So this is like the pseudo Vegetos coming out of the set. Every color got a Deadly Defender, and it basically takes the aggro for your leader in certain instances. So this card, I like it a lot in this deck because you can allow it to attack active battle modes. So 20k that can attack active battle modes is a great number to hit, and the fact that your opponent has to go through this Krillin before they get through to your leader is really huge. 4 Glory Obsessed Prince of Destruction Vegeta, one of the best cards for red in the game in my opinion. Also insane to drop off chain attack. So what it does is if your leader is red, it's basically an undercosted Jiren. It can attack active battle modes. On the first swing, it'll restand and it'll gain a 10k power boost for that battle. So really big. Next up, we're playing 3 Grandpa Gohan. So some of you guys might look at this and be like, what the heck are you doing playing a vanilla in the deck? So I think almost every color got these 3 drop 30k vanillas, and they are honestly just massive empowered, really undercosted. This card is insane against specifically things like Hercule and Announcer that you just need to go tall and get through all that combo power. So it's really good for that. Drop a Fearless Pan on that. It's gonna be a real headache for your opponent. And the fact that you can let your leader can let it attack active battle modes is huge. A 30k at an active battle mode is almost impossible to combo out of. So that's why I like this at a 3 spot in the deck. It pairs really well with the leader effect. For Fearless Pan, this basically creates our win cons in the deck. So if you've been able to establish a board full of red battle cards, which this deck can very easily do through chain attack and things like that, you basically give them all double strike, you go for game. Simple as that. Barrier blocker, really good against Victory Strike as well. So you have an edge in the Victory Strike matchup. Digging Deep Vegeta. This is our other main awakener besides Intensifying Power Trunks. I mentioned Cabba's not really big for awakening. Digging Deep is. So it's summonable off chain attack, so you can get more board pressure. What's really cool with it is that you can attack with the Digging Deep, put yourself down to 4 life, flip your leader over, untap 2. Then your leader can target the Digging Deep to attack active battle modes. So that second swing at a Digging Deep, if it's not necessary to swing at life or anything like that, or either something you need to really get off the board, your chain attack will be able to attack active battle modes, and your 20k Digging Deep on its second swing can attack active battle modes. Huge. 2 of Terror Assault Frost, once again summonable off chain attack. This thing attacks anything in rest mode with barrier, it's getting KO'd. Paired with your leader ability, this thing attacks anything in active mode with barrier, automatically gets KO'd. I would play more honestly if they weren't 110k combos, but I did not want to clog the deck on 110k combos. This could definitely be sideboarded if you're really finding a lot of success with it. I found 2 to be the perfect number in testing. For Chain Attack Trunks, Chain Attack and no Zeno, kind of surprising to see in the deck. This is not one of those types of decks that gains massive advantage from chain zoning your opponent. You don't really have an edge in the chain Zeno type of realm. What this really does well is they'll help you build a board full of red battle cards so that you get most value out of your Fearless Pan. So that's the reason we're playing chain attack in the deck. Really good. So guys, that's the Yamcha mono red deck profile. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. If you guys have any questions, you have any feedback on the deck profile, anything you would do differently, don't hesitate to let us know down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate to hear you guys' thoughts. Definitely check out our Discord server down in the description below. The link will be there. We just talk about everything Dragon Ball Super related. If you have a deck, we'll come help you out. Anything like that, come check that out, guys. Anyone who's going to Nationals this weekend, good luck. I'll see you there. Come say hi. And with that being said, my name is Joey. This is Cross World TCG. I'll see you next time.